quick countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to the BrOtaku Alliance podcast. I am Sean, your gracious and extremely handsome host. That is Tyrese, your other gracious host. And we are here to talk about
Wait, I'm
anime.
not handsome either. I'm not handsome?
Oh no, sure, of course. And he has a NASA t-shirt on, so you know he's smart. So we are here to talk about, of course, manga and anime, and also just other nerd shit.
Yep.
That's kind of our thing. Today, Tyrese is going to start it off with a couple of little things that have been happening in the world of anime, some announcements.
Yep. Today is a good day to be an anime fan today. So Crunchyroll, huh?
I said, oh, of course.
Oh, so Crunchyroll just released like a whole bunch of new anime they were like dropping. So it was like Hell's Paradise is getting a season. Solo Leveling, which is like one of the top mangas that came out along with Tower of God and God of High School, is finally getting the recognition it deserved. Overlord 4 just came out.
Yeah.
Have you
So
heard of that?
I finished. Oh wait, Overlord 4. That's not the same as Overlord. No, Overlord actually is already animated. So no, that's not the same thing. Overlord 4.
Season 4. Yeah.
Oh, season 4. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I thought it was something called Overlord 4.
Oh no.
No. Okay. So yeah. So Overlord season 4. Yeah, I finished season 1. I'm in the middle of season 2 right now, where they're fighting the lizard men.
Oh yeah.
But Overlord is pretty interesting. My opinion of Ainz is changing a little bit because now, well, at first I thought it was gonna be something a little bit more like that time I got reincarnated as a slime, where he's just kind of like doing his own thing, and he ends up getting all these like followers and building this city. With Ainz, it's a little bit different. He's kind of going into it with the mindset of, I'm going to conquer everybody.
Yeah.
So this whole thing with the lizard men has kind of changed my, I guess, perspective of like how I see him. Because the lizard men were literally just minding their own
business.
Like,
until he sent Cocytus.
Yeah, and he's like I'm gonna,
or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm seeing him now that like, all right, this is not the same kind of character. Like, he's definitely trying to become a literal overlord. Like, it's not because he already kind of was one in the game, but now he's like, all right, I'm just gonna do that again.
Yeah.
So it's changed my opinion a little bit of it, which I should have probably expected because the series is called Overlord. So if that's not a hint, I don't know what is. But yeah, but I still enjoy it though.
I do too.
Now Solo Leveling, I read, how much of that did I read? I read a lot of it. Probably like the first, well, I guess you can call it a lot because it's a lot more now, but probably like the first 150 chapters.
Really?
And it's really good. It's another one that kind of follows the same format of like the dungeons and things like that. Is there's levels, like it's like one of those ones, kind of like a video game.
Yeah,
like
that's what I got.
Like a Overlord, or what's the one we were just talking about, Sword Art Online. There's sort of those elements to it, but there's sort of a combination of video game elements, but also isekai, sort of that time I got reincarnated, sort of what's the one that I like? Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Like, sort of those types of vibes where it's like there are people who raid dungeons as a job, because if you don't, the monsters will come up to the real world, and they're actually in modern times.
But really?
There are dungeons just like around, or there's access to different like portals, or access to different dungeons, and people go in to slay monsters, and it's an actual job, like it's a real occupation. And people are different ranks and things like that, and the main character is pretty weak, and he one day experiences this crazy like dungeon, which was supposed to be much easier than it ended up being, and because of that, he ended up getting uh this ability where he gains experience way faster than everybody else. So everything he does ends up powering him up at a much faster speed than
Okay.
everyone else. So after like the first 10 or so chapters, like he's like almost a completely different person. Like he looks different. He looks older and like more mature and bigger and stronger. Like it's actually leveling up. See, that's another thing that I like about it too, is that when he levels up, he's not just gaining abilities, he's like physically leveling up.
And more muscles and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Have
Like
more
he gets
strength, more.
bigger.
Yep.
Yep. So that's pretty cool.
Okay,
I'm
that's
glad
cool.
I'm glad solo leveling is getting its adaptation. It's kind of late. you know.
They should have been came out with it. I would have loved to
Yeah.
watch. I would
I
have binge
think
watched the hell out of it.
Tower of God and God of High School I think have been out longer.
Yeah.
But solo leveling really kind of like hit the ground running. Like a lot of people hopped onto it pretty quick. So that's part of why I was that was the first one that I had heard about. Like I had heard about solo leveling before Tower of God and God of High School, and I started reading it before I even knew those other two existed.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know that they were really even a thing until the Crunchyroll announcement that they were getting anime adaptations. And then I was kind of confused, like, why would they pick these two over solo leveling? But
Mm-hmm.
who knows? Maybe solo leveling just was in the works, but they decided to take a little bit more time with it. I don't know.
It could
And
be.
and the other one, what was the first one that you mentioned? Um,
Hell's Paradise.
Hell's Paradise. I've never heard of that one.
I recently heard about it, all because of the little trailer they showed. So the
Okay.
concept I got of it is it was the main character. He's about to be executed,
Okay.
but then his executioner was like, you don't have to be executed, right? There's like a better way to like atone for your crime. So like, if you help me, I'll help you like clear your debt or whatever.
Okay.
That's like the gist of what I got. I wanted to read it more, but as soon as I heard like the anime was coming out, I don't know if I should wait or like read or like get the manga to read it.
Yeah, usually that's sort of my sentiment. Is like if there's no anime adaptation, I'll just read it.
Mm-hmm.
If I hear that an anime adaptation is in the works or that it's coming out soon, I'll just wait. Because like even with Kaiju number 8, like that had been out for a minute, but there was no news or anything like that
Of
on
it
there.
being getting an anime.
You're right. So I was just like, all right, I'll just read it. Like fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are the opposite, like Jujutsu Kaisen. I heard of that because of the anime.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about the manga before the anime adaptation was announced. But
There's
yeah,
also
okay.
a new anime or like a new anime that's also getting animated in 2023. It's called Mashal.
Mashal.
Yeah. Is a
Okay.
is a combination of between magic and muscles.
Oh, okay.
So that's literally the title, Mashal, Magic and Muscles.
Okay.
It's like a mix
That's
between
cool.
it's like the main character, Mash Burn Dead. I think that's his name. He's like a
Okay.
combination between Harry and Saitama. It's like
Okay.
he could use magic, but he's like strong as shit.
That's scary as fuck.
He's so what he does. He has this wand too, like only he can use. It's like an iron wand that only like he can like lift up
Lift.
because yeah. But
Wow.
people can only use magic to lift it up. But he's like, since he's so fucking strong, he can like lift it without no problem.
That's a little bit like Escanor's axe,
Yeah, only he
or
can lift.
obviously Mjolnir,
Yeah,
Thor's hammer. That's probably the most famous example of that.
yeah. So like, even though he can use magic a little bit, he really can't like use it since
Yeah.
everybody is like born with this thing called a mark, which has allowed
Mm-hmm.
him to use magic. But obviously, since he's the main character, he has to be special. He was the only one that wasn't that was born without one.
Okay. Oh, so a little bit. You know what? It kind of reminds me of Asta.
Yeah, that was about yeah, it's like Black Clover too. So
Yeah.
what he lacks in magic ability, he makes up for it in physical strength.
Right. And that physical strength is also what part of what allows him to lift up his swords
Yep.
because
That's how he was able.
they're extremely heavy, but also they drain your energy if you actually have magic.
Yeah, that's how he was also able to lift up his wand too.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's cool. That sounds interesting. Is there
Yeah.
any like uh insight or information on who they're fighting, like who the enemy is or anything like that?
I think the enemy he's fighting is like his stepfather or something. I
Oh,
think.
okay. Okay.
That's all I know about. I need to read more of it. But it was pretty interesting to me.
So it's interesting. It's a perfect segue that we mentioned Thor because I saw Thor.
I need to see Thor Love and Thunder.
Not the person. I saw the movie.
Yeah,
And you know what? This might come as a shock to people, and I don't want this to discourage you, but it kind of let me down. It
really. I
was
heard people
it was too funny.
it was too funny.
Yeah. It was too funny because Thor Ragnarok, I think, really hit like a nice like sweet spot between funny and also like great action sequences and great fighting and things like that. It wasn't almost constant jokes. Thor Love and Thunder is almost constant jokes.
Wow.
Like it's so like Thor is basically a gag character now.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
in addition to the end game, like big potbelly Thor, like
Playing
he's
Fortnite.
yeah, like he's back in shape now, but he's like in the way that he talks, like everything, he's kind of like a gag character now. He's become like the dumb musclehead. Which I don't know how I feel about it. Like I do sort of miss some of the mysticism of the Thor movies where like Asgard and all these different things were like so grandiose and like mystical and otherworldly. There's still some of that, but it's like now it's so it's like they throw jokes on everything though. So it's like
Like
in this movie, obviously they show in the trailer they see Zeus. And Zeus is played by Russell Crowe. One of the things that I thought was cool, it was smart, but it was also hilariously executed was they gave Russell Crowe decides to use a Greek accent
oh wow.
to play Zeus, which
Mhm.
eh, you know makes sense, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a very logical decision. But in hearing it, it immediately made me think like this is probably why other movies haven't done this. Like every other movie that's based in like Greece or whatever, like Troy, Immortals, Hercules, like all these other movies that are based on Greek gods or Greek mythology or whatever, they never have the actors actually use Greek accents. And it's because the accent itself, no offense to Greek people, but it's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Like it's the most it's very what's a good way to put it? It is very inviting, I guess, and almost friendly.
Okay. Yeah.
Like when you hear a Greek accent, you think about like the smart, shy, like foreign exchange student or something like that,
Mhm.
like from some country in Europe that nobody can pronounce or point to on a map. Like it's like I don't know if you ever watched Jimmy Neutron, the show, but there's a character called Bolby
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
and he was kind of like a derpy
Yeah.
character or whatever, but he was a nice guy.
Mhm.
And it's like hearing Russell Crowe's Greek accent or fake Greek accent, even because he's not actually Greek. It was just like it made Zeus the character. It made Zeus the Greek god feel a lot less threatening than he's probably supposed to.
Even though he's supposed to be like the all god or like the head god of all the Greek
Yeah,
gods.
yeah. He kind of like, and then on top of that, Russell Crowe does not look like a Greek god. Like he does not have the body of like a Greek god. Like Chris Hemsworth has the body that you would associate with like some European like god.
Hmm.
Russell Crowe looks like a guy that they got off the street and was like, "Can you do a Greek accent?" And he was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "All right,
Yeah.
you're Zeus."
All right, you're Zeus. Get in.
Yeah. So it was just it was too funny, like I said. And then on top of that, I felt like uh there were the post credit scenes weren't super like impactful. As far as like the overall, like there was some cool Easter eggs, but there like as far as the overall, like you know how Marvel always uses the post credit scenes to kind of
Tie it into the next movie.
yeah tie it into the next movie or tie it into something else in the MCU.
Yeah, that's true.
Like with the phases, like with the like in phase what was it? The first what are we in now? Phase 4 or 5? I think 5 or
We're in
4.
5 now. 4. No, we're still in 4.
Yeah. So in like phases 1 through 3, most of the post credit scenes were building up to Thanos.
Yep.
In these last couple of movies, not last couple, but mainly like uh no, I would put Spider-Man in there. I would say in this last movie, in Thor Love and Thunder, it didn't really seem like there was anything building towards what we've been building towards with these movies so far, which is like the multiverse and all that kind of stuff. It was cool Easter eggs, like I said, but it didn't feel like anything that was super connected to anything else. So that was a little bit of a letdown as well.
It was more of a filler.
Yeah, it was definitely like hints at the next Thor movie,
Okay.
but not anything as like this might be an Avengers plot line or anything like that. It was
Yeah,
just
nothing
like
major.
yeah, it was just like this will be important to the next Thor movie and probably nothing else. So
I
that
gotta
was
watch
like
it and see for myself.
yeah, that was like I said, it was a bit of a letdown. It wasn't a bad movie by any sense. It was a good movie. I definitely enjoyed it. Um, but Thor the character is kind of like he's becoming a gag character, and I
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know how I feel about that yet because he was like the strongest Avenger.
He pretty much
Yeah,
was.
I mean, I guess he kind of still is, but it's like it's so hard to take him serious now. Well, no, I would say maybe Captain Marvel's up there, but it's so hard to take him seriously now
Yep.
because he's such a. But I will say it's probably a better use of Chris Hemsworth because he does have he's a very good comedic actor.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's
I
really
give it to
funny.
him.
He's
Yep.
really funny. Um, Same thing with like Russell Crowe or you know like there's a lot of actors like that are known for like dramatic roles, but they're actually also really like Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt was that way for a long time
Yep.
until he did it was a movie called Burn After Reading, which I love. It's hilarious, and his character is kind of like a comic relief character, and he's really really funny in it. But before that, I don't think anybody really ever thought about casting Brad Pitt in like a comedy or in a funny role. Now he gets a bunch of them,
Mm.
and then in the opposite too, there are guys who are known for being funny who don't get dramatic roles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, except every now and then. Adam Sandler is starting to now get dramatic roles, and he's doing great, which I love. But before that, he was just the comedy guy.
Yep.
But now with Hustle and then Uncut Gems was really good too. Uncut Gems was great. That movie gave me a heart attack, like 3 heart attacks.
I like that
It
movie
was
too. That was a
it
good
was
movie.
like it was like just nonstop intensity from beginning to end. It was so it was hard to watch, but it was amazing. Really, really good movie. Um, Now back to the topic of new anime. I finished Ranking of Kings, and I
That's what I
loved
need
it.
to. That's what I need to watch. I knew there was
I
an anime I needed to watch.
I absolutely loved it. I'm about to start Spy Family next. But I absolutely loved Ranking of Kings. It did not uh disappoint, and it was not what I expected at all.
Hmm.
Um it was like it was a roller coaster, but it was not at all what I was expecting, especially not from the animation style. And I was actually
I love
talking
the
to
animation style though.
yeah, and I was talking to a friend of mine who also watches anime and who also I forced to watch High Guardian Spice. And I told her, I was like, Ranking of Kings seems like this is what High Guardian Spice was supposed to be.
Really?
Like it's an anime with a sort of like childlike or kiddie cartoon animation style,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very serious. It's definitely for adults. It's not for kids, and they can commit to it. Like they don't try to have it about friendship and all these other things. Like there's elements of that, but it's a pretty serious topic. And it becomes very clear from the very beginning who's who,
Mm-hmm.
what they want, what they're trying to do, what the goal is, and who's against who. Like where the factions are, where the loyalties lie, all of that is very clear from the beginning. And the main character is so much easier to root for. So for those of you who haven't watched Ranking of Kings already, I'll give you a brief synopsis. So Ranking of Kings is it's another sort of medieval theme manga, I mean anime. Um Basically different nations, their kings get ranked. There's a organization that goes around and grades leaders on different things, right? Whether it's how strong they actually are as an individual king,
Mm-hmm.
how well their kingdom is doing, how happy their subjects are, how many knights they have. Like all these different things factor into where you get ranked as a king. So, there is this kid named Boji who is a prince. He is next in line for the throne of his kingdom. His dad his dad's name is King Boss.
King
So,
Boss.
yeah, King Boss, and that's the perfect name for him. Because he's a giant, he's extremely strong, he's extremely tough. Everybody
Okay.
fears and loves him. Boji, however, is not a giant. He's pretty small. Like even if he was a regular human, he's small. Boji's mom was also a giant, but she is since passed. Boji's dad, King Boss, remarried. And Boji has a little brother who's bigger than him. Like he's like at least half a foot taller than him. Boji is I think 13, and his little brother Daida is 12.
Okay.
So Boji, in addition to being small, even though both of his parents were giants, Boji is also deaf and he is a mute, so he can't really speak.
Mm-hmm.
He can like make noises and stuff, but he can't really speak words. And he's deaf, so he communicates through sign language and he, reads people's lips. So he's small, deaf, and a mute. And he's supposed to be next in line for the throne to take over for his dad, who's a literal giant and was, I believe, the number one ranked king
Okay.
of all the nations. So the whole the whole anime, it's the first season, which is like 23 episodes, is literally about Boji trying to become worthy of taking over for his dad, which in a nutshell sounds like a pretty straightforward show. However, in a similar way to something like Game of Thrones, there's a lot of backstabbing, there's a lot of espionage and secret like backdoor conversations and deals going on, betrayal.
Yes.
There's some magic, there's some like reincarnation, and there's like literal like killing. So like I said, it's not for kids. There's real killing and death in this show. People like get smashed with giant clubs. Like it's not it's not like a kiddie show at all. So, I like that they take a very adult concept and they don't try to make it like what it's not. Like they very much say like this is, it's like Game of Thrones. Like this stuff really happens. Like in this time period, it happened a lot. Like there were wars, people vying for the throne,
Yeah.
siblings fighting each other, people ordering assassinations. Like there's a lot of different stuff that happens in the show just in the 23 episodes. And in that time, you see Boji not necessarily get stronger, but get more confident. And that's what I really liked is that he's because he's such a polar opposite of his dad. A lot of people wrote him off immediately, and he can't do the things his dad can do. He can't even do the things that his little brother does. But he finds ways to succeed without being like anybody else. He finds ways to use what he can do to his advantage. So that was the thing that I really liked. There's no like, oh, you're small and deaf, but I'm gonna teach you a way to, lift up a 2-ton rock. Like there's none of that. Like he's never going to be strong. And they say that multiple times. Like you will never be strong. But you can still whoop people's ass. You just gotta learn how to do it in a way where you don't need a lot of strength. So, the whole show is like it's like I said, it's probably what High Guardian Spice was trying to be, because it's definitely about having confidence in yourself. Like there are people in the show who are not strong, who aren't even kings, who are still contributing and who are still like worthy members of society, who are important, who are, confident in themselves and who know themselves. You know what I mean? And they use that as their strength. That's their power. Everybody doesn't have to be a giant in order to be mighty or to be strong. That's like the overall message of the show. And they deliver it really well. So anybody out there, if you haven't already checked it out, make sure you go check out Ranking of Kings. I highly recommend it. It's very good. It's also pretty funny. And the animation is really great. And by the end of it, you will feel very differently about the characters than you did in the beginning.
I definitely gotta watch this. I'll probably watch this tonight after we do this.
Yeah, and then I gotta start Spy Family, which I heard is also amazing.
Yep. The next season is starting in October, I think.
Okay, that's good. I'll probably be done season 1 well before that.
Yeah, it's 12 episodes. You can just breeze right through that in a day.
Now, speaking of next season, I don't think it's been announced yet, but what's up with the next season of Tokyo Revengers? I can't wait for that. Season 2 is going to be the craziest shit.
So I've heard.
Like, having read, I'm caught up on it already. So, like, it just gets crazier and crazier. And I have to constantly remind myself that these are kids. Like, I have to constantly remind myself, like, these are 13-year-olds or 15-year-olds. Like, these are 15-year-olds riding motorcycles through the city and, like, having back alley brawls with full uniforms on.
Yep.
Like, full, like, no, we gotta, like, everybody has the same uniform.
Especially Draken.
Yeah.
I mean, Draken makes sense, because he grew up in a brothel.
Right. But it's like, they have whole gang uniforms. Like, there are literal armies. Armies of 15-year-olds.
I was like, where do you find the funding to get
pulling
all
up
these
on
fucking uniforms?
And motorcycles.
And motorcycles. Like, who's funding these kids? Who's condoning this?
It's the craziest thing in the world. And I have to constantly remind myself that these are not adults.
They're kids.
Even in the way that they talk. It's like, these aren't how kids talk. It's like the politics of the gang world and everything. Like, they're so engulfed in it. And I'm just like, bro, you should be in class.
Right?
Like, why are you even... You're worried about territories and all this other shit. And then it's like, it's not even like they're selling drugs.
They're not, though.
Like, there's no money involved in any of this. There's nothing that you get from being the strongest gang in Japan. Eventually, when they get older, when we go to, like, the flash forward, when Takemichi goes back to the present, we see that eventually Toman becomes, like, a legit criminal organization where they're making money. Mm-hmm. But when they're kids, they're literally just kids.
Just fighting over territory.
Fighting over territory and, like, members and bragging rights.
Yeah.
And, like, people are dying. Like,
Bobby died like twice in time.
yeah,
And
yeah, like people are legit dying.
Mikey was beating the shit out of Kazatoro, and
Right.
nobody could have stopped him. I wouldn't have stopped him either.
I wouldn't have either. I don't want to be next. And then on top of that, it's like if I'm in Toman, it's like, am I even supposed to stop him? Or is this like part of how we win? Because I do
Yeah.
want to win. Yeah, it's crazy. And then I will never get over the fact that they have uniforms.
Yeah.
Because like from an American perspective, uniforms for gangs has not been a thing since like the 70s or maybe like early 80s when you had like the Hells Angels, and even then they weren't even really like uniforms. They were like vests, like
Yeah,
leather
with
vests.
like the logos of the gang on the back.
Yeah, and then like you had, black gangs like with the vests or leather jackets or whatever, but it was never like they have full on uniforms. Like
Mm-hmm.
pants, jackets. The jackets have patches,
Yep.
like military stars and like badges and stuff. Like how you got a purple heart from a gang? Like it doesn't make sense. It's the craziest thing in the world how organized they are, and I'm just like, man, only in Japan
Right, only
could you
Japan
have
do shit like that.
15 15-year-old gang members that are this organized and like
Mm-hmm.
well dressed. Because in America, it's just not a thing. You don't see gangs with uniforms. You wouldn't even want to do that. Why would I want to walk by the police in like a full gang uniform on?
Oh, that man looks
It's crazy.
he got a uniform that gang that we heard about. Get him.
Yeah, yeah. Like you just snitched on yourself.
Yeah, paint a whole target on your back, literally.
A literal, yeah, exactly. I don't know, but and apparently it's real too. Like I can't get over that either. Like
Oh yeah,
these
it's a
were
real
real
thing.
things. The biker gangs in Japan, they really had uniforms.
Yep.
It's like the closest thing I could liken it to would be the Klan, and even then they cover their faces, so you don't know who they are. These
Mm-hmm.
guys are just barefaced, walking out, like purposely trying to garnish as much attention as possible.
Yeah, pretty much. Even with that group photo they had too, I think they was all like out in the street with like
Yeah, they
their
were in the middle of like
flaggers.
Shibuya, I think.
Yeah,
They beat up a guy to take the picture.
yeah.
They beat up like a grown man to take the picture for him because he didn't want to do it. It's like it's the craziest shit in the world, bro. And I
Yeah,
love it so much. I love that manga.
I do too.
It's so good, and it's only getting better. Like it's it's interesting because you get frustrated with Takamichi sometimes, but at the same time, it's like he's showing enough progress and he's doing enough that you still want to root for him
Yeah,
and you still want to follow him. And he's got a good heart and he's coming from a good place,
yeah.
like with what he's trying to do, because he's not Mikey.
No, he will never be Mikey.
No, he'll never be
No.
Mikey. But he's good. He's a good leader.
Yeah,
He's a
he has
good
a good
person.
heart.
Right, exactly. Should he be the leader of a gang? Probably not.
No,
But
no.
is he in the wrong line of work? Probably. But
Possibly.
he's giving it his all.
Yeah.
I
To
can at
save
least give him that.
everybody.
Right. But yeah, man, Tokyo Revengers is a trip. I at this point I've kind of given up on reading Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm just gonna wait for the anime
I was waiting until the Shibuya arc got animated as well.
because Serai has spoiled so much stuff for me that I'm just like I'm not. I'll just wait to see it animated.
Like, why does she want to spoil so much? Like, what? Who did this to her? Who hurt her?
And it sucks because she's caught up now on Tokyo Revengers, so I can't spoil her on that anymore. So now there is no other manga that we both read that she's not caught up on that I am. So I have nothing. I have nothing else to spoil her on.
I don't know why you told her shit about One Piece, even though I'm literally almost done Whole Cake Island.
I told her literally because she said she's never gonna watch it, and I was like, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Plus, the minute she goes online to like search it, the things that I told her are probably like the first things that are gonna come up.
I stayed away from looking up anything One Piece related.
Yeah, you gotta stay away from looking it up. You gotta stay away from like One Piece Twitter. or Facebook. Like you have to stay away because the One Piece community is so quick.
Yeah.
Like the YouTubers, the bloggers, the wiki pages, like everything updates so quick and in real time, and there's constantly discussions about it because everybody wants to talk about it. So it's like
Theories they have.
yeah, theories, discussions, debates, power scaling stuff.
That's why I stayed away. That's why I stayed away from any. That's why I don't follow anybody that like talks about One Piece.
Yeah, you gotta, if you're not caught up yet, you gotta just stay away. Cause I found out about Garp being Luffy's grandfather like way before I got to that part.
Really?
Way before. Cause I was looking up something. I was looking up something. It might have been about Smoker, and I ended up on a page that like listed the known Marine members, and I saw Monkey D. Garp, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I remembered Garp from the little bit when they were showing like Kobe and Helmeppo.
Yep.
When they were training with Garp, the Marine Garp. But they only called him Garp or Garp the Fist or Garp the Hero or whatever. Yeah, when I saw on the wiki page Monkey D. Garp, I was like, is that the same Garp that's training Kobe and Helmeppo? And I looked at a picture of him and I was like, fuck, that's he's related to Luffy.
Yep.
Like I knew immediately. Like once like the name kind of threw me off. I was like, huh? And then I looked at it and I was like, oh shit, I just spoiled myself.
You know, I was like, crazy? You know what's crazy too?
What?
I couldn't avoid the spoiler Ace being killed in Marineford.
Yep.
Like I literally couldn't avoid that. I literally couldn't avoid that.
Yep.
Him and Whitebeard.
That was another one. I don't know. I don't remember how I got spoiled about Ace. I don't remember how exactly it happened, but I did know beforehand that Ace was gonna die.
Like that shit was unavoidable. I saw a picture of both the graves of both Ace and Whitebeard.
Yeah.
That's how I was like spoiled and shit.
You know what? Actually, I think I remember. I think I was trying to look up something about Ace. Because this was after Alabasta. So we'd already been introduced to the character. So I was like, all right, whatever. Like, I already know who he is. I know he's related to Luffy. I know he's Luffy's brother. Whatever. So I went to look up something about Ace. I think it was how old he was. I went to see how old he was. And in the process, I saw the dates. Because you know how the wiki page does, like, the born, died. Yep. So I saw died and, like, the date and, like, Marineford. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. I was spoiled.
I was like, shit.
I was spoiled on Blackbeard too because I was so interested with his devil fruit.
Yep, I got spoiled on that
fruit.
too.
And I was like, the dark fruit, and then under it was Paramecia, the tremor fruit. I was like, the tremor fruit. Don't Whitebeard got that? And I realized, fuck, Whitebeard died and he ended up taking his devil fruit. When we don't know how he did it, but he ended up taking it.
I got spoiled on Blackbeard looking up devil fruits.
Really?
On the wiki page. I was looking up something about somebody's devil fruit. And I was reading and I get to this one point where it says, of course, no one except Blackbeard has been able to eat 2 devil fruits. And I was like, fuck. It was like, I think I was looking up like, why can't you eat 2 devil fruits or something like that? Or like, I was looking up like, does anybody know why you can't eat 2 devil fruits? Because this was Water 7 or before Water 7, maybe. But you know, the whole scene where the CP9 agents get the devil fruits and Jabra is like, oh, get it away from me. I already have a fruit. I don't want the devil fruit in me to start fighting with that.
I remember that.
And I would remember like asking, like, at that point, like, why can't a person have 2 devil fruits? Or I was looking up something about devil fruits, and in the process of reading it, I saw no one other than Blackbeard has been able to eat 2 devil fruits, and I was like, well, Blackbeard, I guess has 2 devil fruits then.
Yep. And
I was like, shit. It was so much stuff that I like got spoiled on. But I mean, that comes with the territory of I was getting into a 20+ year old anime.
Yeah, I was so curious about the devil fruits. Only Oda's the only person I know that can make a completely weird like thing into an actual fucking useful ability, like the mochi mochi fruit with
Right,
Katakuri had.
right.
And he awakened that shit too, and he
Hmm.
turned everything into fucking mochi.
See, that's
That
the
was
thing with
crazy.
like, that's the thing with Luffy's fruit because you know, there's been some like recent information about Luffy's devil fruit. Um, and there's like this debate going on in the community because for a lot of people, the reason why they kind of fell in love with Luffy and with One Piece in general was because it didn't do what a lot of other shonen did, where the main character was like the chosen one,
Yeah.
and he had like the most powerful whatever, like that he just stumbled across. Like in even in Black Clover, like you could argue that Asta's grimoire is one of the most powerful in the entire world.
I mean, yeah, of course, it can nullify magic.
Yeah,
Absorb magic.
and he just like stumbled upon it.
Yeah.
And obviously he himself is now, we find out, super special as well. But like there's so many, like even with Naruto, like he just happens to have the nine-tailed fox in him. Like there was nothing he did.
Yeah.
It's just been there since he's a baby.
Yep.
Like he's the chosen one. So like a lot of people with One Piece loved that Luffy had like a wacky, virtually useless devil fruit.
But it was super useful in like more ways than one,
But
especially in
that's part of what people really loved about it, was that it was seemingly useless and ridiculous, but he found ways to make it strong. Like he found
yeah.
ways to get the most out of it, to use it in battle and use it in various situations where it's super effective.
Mm-hmm.
But now, like I said, some new information has come out about Luffy's devil fruit, and it's made people sort of rethink how they see not just Luffy, but also not just the devil fruit, but also like Luffy and the overall story. Because now it's like, okay, well, is this kind of like Naruto where he's the chosen one thing? But I don't think it's quite the same, because the way that it's been explained is that Luffy's devil fruit actually kind of is useless. Like until because Luffy, I guess I gotta spoil you on this one thing. He awakened his devil fruit.
Oh shit. And Wano.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay,
gonna
that's
tell you
right.
I'm not gonna tell you what his powers are or anything like that. But because he awakened, the thing is, his devil fruit is, like people thought, virtually useless until you awaken it.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is, it takes somebody like Luffy to awaken it, because the devil fruit has been in existence forever. And we recently found out only a handful, and by a handful, I mean like two or three known people have ever awakened the devil fruit. So
Like that specific devil fruit, like the
that
gum
he
gum fruit.
has, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So people are like, well, his devil fruit isn't like this weird, wacky, you know, devil fruit that's like kind of stupid and useless, but he found a way to get the most out of it. It's actually super powerful. But the thing is, you can't even get to that level until you go through all the like weird, wacky, useless abilities of the gum gum fruit
Uh,
and find ways to use it in, more creative and effective in a
Yep.
more creative and effective way. You literally have to be a person like Luffy. Like you have to be kind of a kid,
In order to utilize it.
right? You have to be kind of like wacky and stupid yourself.
Yep.
Like
Like what?
you have to be creative. You have to be imaginative. You have to be, you know, you have to think outside the box, and you have
Yeah.
to have extremely high levels of determination and willpower
Yep.
in order to awaken it. So it's like he's still gotten to where he is because of hard work and because of who he is as a person, and because of the time that he's put into growing stronger. Him awakening his devil fruit and the devil fruit being stronger than most people initially anticipated doesn't necessarily mean that Luffy isn't Luffy. Like he's still the same character. He's
Uh-huh.
not a chosen one. Is he special? Sure, but Ace was special. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's plenty of special people in the world of One Piece. What makes Luffy different is literally Luffy. Like
Yep.
his way of thinking, his personality, his determination, his willpower. That's what makes Luffy who he is. And that's
Hmm.
what made the devil fruit as strong as it is. Because you can't get to that point without being that kind of person. So that's why it's like, you know, people with the devil fruits, Oda does this thing where he'll have a devil fruit that seems kind of stupid, but it's like if you put that in the hands of the right person, that could actually be an extremely powerful devil fruit. Like imagine if Zoro had Buggy's fruit.
Oh, the chop fruit.
Like
Yeah.
in Zoro and Buggy's hands, like again, it's like sure it comes in handy, but for Zoro, like a swordsman who fights other swordsmen, the
Hmm.
ability to not be cut is like a cheat code. Like that could be the thing that ends up making him like the strongest guy in the world.
Yeah, that fight with Mihawk he had would have been a whole lot different if he had the chop fruit.
Right. Now personally, I don't know how different the Mihawk fight would have been simply because Mihawk knows
It's
hockey.
strong. Yeah, it's strong. Yeah, that's true.
So at least I assume yeah, actually Mihawk does know hockey cuz he's the one who showed Zoro
Know how to use hockey.
how to coat his blade in hockey.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I don't see the big issue with like some of the things like Luffy's devil fruit and that kind of stuff. I think the devil fruit system is one of the, if not the most creative
Oh yeah, for
power
sure.
systems in all of anime for real.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't really get more it doesn't really get more creative than that. Like
Yeah, so
you
yeah.
eat a fruit and you get a random power.
Yeah, so what if you lose your ability to swim? You can find ways around that if you have the right devil fruit.
Right. And there's so many different theories around that too. Like why do you lose the ability to swim? Because it's so specific.
I remember something, but I could be wrong. It said because I I think the devil fruits usually originated in like the water or whatever or something, and like the god of the sea wouldn't allow anybody to like eat it. But if you did eat it, the god of the sea would be furious and you won't be able to swim. I could be wrong. I heard it somewhere.
It's definitely so Oda does this a lot. He plays on like these biblical themes and there's the whole theme of like, the Garden of Eden and the forbidden fruit.
Hmm.
And when you eat the fruit, you gain actually. Like a lot of people who maybe don't read the Bible or didn't know the story or whatever. The whole thing was that the fruit was on the tree of knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah.
And when you eat the fruit, you actually gain knowledge of
Hmm.
good and evil and of self and like all these different things. But in doing so, you get kicked out of the garden.
Hmm.
So the thing about the devil fruits is that you do get something. Like you get it's definitely like supposed to be a mirror or an example of the forbidden fruit of Eden.
Hmm.
Whereas like you gain something, but you have to lose something. And it's usually in this case something extremely important. But as we've seen in One Piece, the ability to swim actually isn't super important.
It's
Like
not
Luffy's gotten along just fine without
without swimming.
my camera's doing stupid stuff. Like without knowing how to swim. Like he's been perfectly fine.
Yeah,
He's survived. He's had a couple close calls,
yeah,
but
with Arlong Park, Arlong literally threw him in the fucking water when he was stuck in one of the rocks, but he got out of it.
yeah, like if you got that's the thing. If you have a crew and not everybody on your crew is a devil fruit user, then you'll be fine. Like all you need is somebody to pull you out.
Yeah, like Sanji or Zoro, especially Sanji
Right.
since he has like strong ass legs.
Right.
I can always
So
expect him to pull me out, or Jinbei.
yeah, Jinbei especially now.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
so it's like it's not a huge it's not as big of a consequence as like getting kicked out of the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, I
But
wouldn't mind being a devil fruit user.
I think part of me is like still I think it's a little bit deeper than that because like you said, most of the people who find devil fruits have to go and look for them.
Yep.
And because the world of One Piece is mostly water, you're running a huge risk just by traveling along the ocean.
This is true.
So you kind of have to be strong, or at least prepared and like smart enough to know how to do that, so that you don't die just from falling off the ship.
Yeah,
Because just because you get a devil fruit doesn't guarantee that you're gonna, survive anything.
that's true. You have to learn how to use it.
Exactly. It might actually, hurt you more than anything. Like when Luffy first got his devil fruit and didn't know how to use it, and he
Yep.
couldn't punch, couldn't kick, couldn't really do anything.
Until he trains.
Yeah, he had to train with it for a while. And even then, there were still people stronger than him.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love One Piece. I think it's at the point where some people love it so much that Oda can do no wrong. I don't know if I'm there yet. Like I still acknowledge the things that Oda does that I don't like the fact that nobody dies,
That's
or very few people die. Like
yeah.
there have been so many wars and things like that. Like obviously people have died. Plenty of people have died. Like I'm sure hundreds of people died in Marineford.
Yeah.
But it's like, in these big clashes and battles and things like that, when it comes to like main characters or named characters, very few of them actually die.
This is
Especially in real time. It's usually in a flashback.
true. Yeah.
So, that's like the one gripe that I have with One Piece and with Oda specifically, because there have been so many, like in Wano. Oh my God, there have been so many instances where he's played it like somebody died, and then they just pop back up. Like you remember Pell,
Yeah.
the eagle guy who carried the
Yep.
bomb into this guy. Like he should have died.
He should have died in Alabasta.
Right. And
Otherwise-
there were several moments like that in Wano. And it was getting to the point where people were getting kind of like pissed off. Like, all right, just don't even show us people getting hurt anymore.
Yeah, because they're just gonna pop right up and survive like it was nothing.
Yeah. And with like some weird excuse.
Yeah.
Like for instance, Kinemon, like Kinemon, who the samurai.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah, back in Punk Hazard.
Yeah, so when they first meet him at Punk Hazard, Law had cut him into pieces.
Oh,
so he cut him
yeah,
he cut him in
did.
half. Yeah, he cut him in half at the waist. In Wano, this is a small spoiler. Kinemon gets cut in half again because he gets reattached.
Yeah.
So he gets cut in half again, and it's in silhouette and everything, and it looks like he died.
Wow.
Then like a couple chapters later, we see Kinemon's legs running around. And it's not Law who cuts him in half. So we see Kinemon's legs running around, and he's like, "Oh, I guess Law don't know. I guess Law didn't attach me all the way." Or like he, maybe when he reattached me, it wasn't like 100% like aligned or whatever. So when I got cut in half this time, they just broke me back into two pieces. But Law's power was still like activated on me because I wasn't all the way reattached. And we're just like, bro, what the, like, come on, really? Like this whole time, this man did not realize his torso and legs were not 100% attached, or they were like shifted.
The
like
entire time?
Right. Like since Punk Hazard, you're telling me this man did not notice that his upper half and lower half were not connected the right way. So it was just like moments like that where it's just like, all right, Oda, like you're playing with us at this point.
Wow, so the whole Dressrosa arc, that didn't even cross his mind.
Nope.
Wow.
I'm like, you know how many times I'm assuming this guy is like taking a shower or something, and you just never look down like, oh, my waist is turned 30 degrees to the left. I didn't know that. Yeah, it was like, it's stuff like that. And people die, like I said, and I know Oda does it on purpose because it makes the deaths more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
And it works. But at the same time, from a writing perspective, like when certain people don't die, it makes it even less believable or even less realistic than the story already is.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's already not realistic at all. But, now it's even worse when you have a guy fly into the sky carrying what's supposed to be like a nuclear weapon, and he just shows up like a day later, like, "Hey, I'm
Like
good."
nothing happened. Yep, like
Yeah,
nothing happened. Like,
yeah.
it didn't kill
I
me.
let it go just in time. Like, and then what? Flew a mile away in a split second.
Mm-mm-mm.
But yeah, but it's still one of the best mangas I've ever read. It's
Yeah,
still
it's still
top,
the best. It's still one
top
of the best.
five,
Yep,
top five all time, top two for me. I would say One Piece and Attack on Titan are probably the two greatest manga I've ever read.
I agree with that. I can't argue with that.
And then like after that, you'll get like I would say after that I would probably put. Mm, See, it's tough because it's not over yet, so I don't know where to rank it. My Hero.
Oh yeah,
My Hero's in my top five, and then Naruto and Bleach.
I saw the list.
Yeah, got two new ones and three OGs. And now Bleach is coming back too. They just released
Yep,
another little poster for the 1,000 year. Was it 1,000 year Blood
your
War?
blood. Yep,
I'm excited for that.
I am too.
That was an interesting arc. It was
Yeah,
an interesting arc because it definitely felt like it was the closing act.
yeah, like it was the final arc or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, it felt like it.
I
And
felt like it. Yeah,
other arcs have felt like it, but then obviously the studio was like, "Nope, you got to keep this going." And then they
yep.
just kind of pulled another season out of nowhere or another arc out of nowhere. The 1,000 Year Blood War felt like the last arc, and I think I think a lot of people were okay with that because
I
it
would
was
have been
starting
fine
to
if
get a little. It was starting to get a little bit too much.
yeah, I would have been fine if it was the last arc.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been fine if the arc after Aizen was the last arc because originally I think that's what was supposed to be the last arc
Oh yeah.
because Ichigo, remember, he lost his powers.
Mm-hmm.
He lost his Soul Reaper powers after that, and it was revealed that like his dad was a Soul Reaper, and like that was actually how he had his ability to see ghosts. Him and his little sister
Yeah.
was because his dad was an ex Soul Reaper who decided to live in the living world, because he met his mom. But
Mm-hmm.
then after that, it just kind of started to get a little ridiculous. It was like, oh no, actually his mom was a Quincy. It's like, well, what?
Where did this come out from?
Yeah,
Now they just add shit now.
yeah. So it's like, no, he's actually half Soul Reaper, half Quincy with hollow powers. And it's like,
Like
bruh. So he's a little bit of everything, is what you're saying.
basically,
Yeah, and then
he's everything.
The chosen one thing was just like in full effect at that point.
Yeah.
It was the same thing with Naruto. It's like, all right, in addition to having the nine-tailed fox inside of him, we also find out that he's the reincarnation of the son of the Sage of Six Paths.
Six Paths. Yeah.
So it's like, and on top of that, we find out that the Uzumaki clan is a distant descendant of the Utsutsuki clan.
Really?
Yeah, because remember, Kaguya came down and she had two sons, Hagoromo,
Yeah.
who was the Sage of Six Paths, and Hagoromo's brother.
Yeah. She was crying when she saw
Hagoromo had two kids. Those
Mm-hmm.
two kids ended up being the two founders of the Uchiha and the Senju clan. The Uzumaki clan is a branch family, was a branch family of the Senju. They were like cousins, like they were a group of Senju that branched off and became their own clan, the Uzumaki clan.
Okay.
And then the Hyuga did the same thing. They were a branch family of the Uchihas. So they kind of separated and, developed the Byakugan and became the Hyuga clan. Because remember, the Utsutskis, Kaguya had the Byakugan.
Yeah.
So the Hyuga clan is a branch of like the Uchiha clan, and the Uzumaki is a branch of the Senju. So technically speaking, Naruto is a blood descendant of Kaguya and Hagoromo, the Sage of Six Paths.
Wow. What the hell?
Him and Sasuke.
Yeah.
They're sort of the last two.
Yeah.
Well, Sasuke's the last Uchiha up until,
Yeah.
he had a daughter. But of the Uzumaki clan, remember their clan was mostly wiped out and they were scattered all over the place. The last known living Uzumaki members were Naruto, Karin, and Nagato. and then Nagato died. So Naruto and Karin are the last like known Uzumaki clan members that are alive.
Mm-hmm.
Because typically they have red hair. Naruto's the only one who doesn't.
Yep.
So yeah, so that was another thing. I was like, all right, another chosen one thing, and that was the chosen two, because it's Naruto and Sasuke.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was it was getting to be a little bit too much with Bleach. But at the same time, this last arc, the Thousand Year Blood War arc, had some of the best fight scenes in the entire anime, in the entire manga. Like did you read the Thousand Year Blood War?
I read tidbits of the Thousand Year Blood War. I
Did
know
you
a little
see
bit.
did you see Kenpachi getting his Bankai?
Yep. That
Yeah.
I saw. I
That's
also
the
saw.
that's the thing I'm looking forward to the most. Like
I
seeing
love.
that get animated,
I
I
love
can't wait.
Kenpachi.
Me too.
After the Soul Reaper, I fucking love Kenpachi. And Yorichi too, when she got her like her Thunder God form.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I'm waiting for too.
Yep. Yeah. Those are like the two. Those are probably the two like all time hypest moments.
Yep. They're my two favorite characters too.
Me too. Yep. Me too. And Urahara.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
But even then, seeing his Bankai.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that happens in the Thousand Year Blood War arc too. Or does it happen earlier, actually? It might happen earlier now that I think about it. I think it happens in the um what is it? The arc where they go and fight Aizen.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Was it there? Was it there?
When he's with the Espada. I think that's the arc where it gets where they actually show Urahara's Bankai. But his Bankai was crazy. See, Bleach was so good. Like
Yeah.
it was so like the story was so good.
Like
And
the first
it
time I ever
just
seen Bleach, I was kind of confused because it was shown on Toonami, and like the episodes I would like randomly watch is like them fighting in the air. That's what got me
yeah.
confused at first, and then I started like watch it from the beginning when it was like on Netflix, and I was like, oh, okay, it's good. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah, it was really really good. And like just the different connections, cuz that's the thing, like I love animes and mangas and just stories in general where they don't tell you everything right in the beginning.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like finding out that Urahara used to be a one of the 13 captains was like that was like one of the biggest like head explosion like moments of like my early anime years.
Mm-hmm.
Cause even like with Dragon Ball, finding out, cause I actually went back and watched Dragon Ball,
I did too.
like the whole original Dragon Ball. So when I watched Dragon Ball Z, I rewatched everything in order. So when I started watching Dragon Ball Z again, it didn't hit the same when Vegeta and Raditz and all them come down and like let Goku know that he's a Saiyan and he's actually an alien. It didn't hit the same because I had already seen Dragon Ball
Yeah.
Z.
Yeah, because I
So
already know what's happening.
yeah, so it didn't really hit the same. With Naruto, like with the Nine-Tailed Fox thing, it was so early that again, like it didn't really hit the same. It was like first couple episodes you find that out.
Mm-hmm.
Even with his dad being the fourth Hokage, the minute they showed the fourth Hokage in color, like not just
Yep.
the rock face or the cliff face or whatever, I
Yep.
was like, that's probably Naruto's dad.
Yeah.
But with like finding out about Urahara being one of the 13 captains, finding out about I forget the hollow Soul Reaper guys, like I forget their names. The ones who first taught Ichigo how to control his hollow powers,
Yeah.
like how to do the mask.
Yep.
Finding out that they were like ex, 13 card captains,
Yep.
and everybody's different roles and things like that. Like it was really cool, and it really made it helped keep the interest.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like with Naruto, there was stretches where it just like wasn't interesting. but you just kind of kept going because you knew something good was going to happen eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like everything before the Zabuza arc was just kind of like, this is just, we're just getting to know the characters at this point. Then the Zabuza, the bridge arc happens, and then after that, it's kind of less like more filler and just, nothing really happening. Then you get the tuning exams. It's like, it wasn't constant action. With Bleach, it was like near constant action.
Yeah.
Same thing with One Piece. Like One Piece has been almost constant action from episode, I would say, what I usually tell people is try to make it to episode 40. Because everybody always complains. Yeah, that was like the ending. That was that was the beginning of the actual fight between Luffy and Arlong.
Mm-hmm.
What I usually tell people is try to make it to episode 40. If you can get to episode 40, you'll finish the series.
And you told me that was true. I was hooked on it after that too.
Because before that, there's some parts where you kind of lose interest a little bit. Like Usopp, Syrup Village. Some people lose interest around Syrup Village. Yeah. Some people lose interest, around like even the Baratie, like the beginning portion of the Baratie before Mihawk shows up.
Yeah, that's
some people lose a little bit of interest. Like, I get it. But once you make it to the actual fight between Luffy and Arlong, and you see Luffy get his first bounty, and you see that whole, that whole fight and the thing with Nami and like her backstory, it's like once you get to that point, you're pretty much invested at that point. Like you're gonna finish it. So, Bleach was, I didn't have that issue with Bleach. It was pretty quick. It was like, yeah, I'm finishing this shit. But yeah, I other than that, not too many issues with One Piece.
No.
And you would expect for something to be so long that there would be more like dull moments. And there's plenty of filler, but if you, that's the thing, like it's been out so long, like I said, you can look up pretty much anything. You can look up exactly which arcs and episodes are filler and you can skip them.
Yep, that's what I did when I was like watching them up until the Skypiea arc. And I decided to just read it.
Yep. So you're just reading now? You're not watching? Or are you watching and reading?
I'm watching and reading. The part I'm at now is like I'm watching like the Luffy and Katakuri fight, like when they continue to fight and like after Luffy recovered his haki.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And then I found out the truth about how Big Mom got her fucking devil fruit. I was actually kind of fucked up how she actually got it.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And that was actually a really important, flashback looking back because Elbaf, like they showed so much of Elbaf.
Yep.
And that was the most, and still to this day, that is the most that we know about the country of Elbaf. And the thing is, when they showed it, like when they showed that little clip of the island itself, you can see like on the right hand side, they don't show the island. It's so big that it's like doesn't even fit in the frame. But on the right hand side, it looks like there's a giant tree.
Yep.
So I always say one of the things that Oda isn't the best at is scale. Like I think Kaido has changed size in like damn near every time we've seen him.
Really? Because the first time I seen him, he was fucking huge.
Yeah, he looks like a giant. But he's not actually a giant. He's smaller than a giant, but he looks bigger.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Like I said, Oda's not great at scale. Big Mom too. Like sometimes she looks like a giant. Sometimes
she's not. Yep.
Yeah. So, but with Elbaf, when they show it, it looks like there's a giant tree, like the tree in Ohara or whatever, to the right of the frame in the middle of the island. Now, if you scale it, when you look at that island, you see mountains and you see the tree. You don't see trees, like regular sized trees. So what that would suggest is that you're so far away that you can't even make out the village where the giants live. So,
yep.
As big as the giants are and as big as their houses are, That means their village must be huge.
Mm-hmm.
So if the camera is so far away that you can't even see this big ass village, that means it's so small compared to the tree that tree has to be much, much bigger than like something the size of the Gates of Justice. Whereas the tree on Ohara, like the treasure tree Adam, like they were all huge trees, but they were still relatively like not normal, but like you could see the tree.
Yeah.
Like you could look at the bottom of the island and see the top of the tree without being like miles and miles away.
Yep.
If this is like accurate scale, the fact that they're so far away that you can't see the giant's village, but you still also can't even see the top of the tree, this tree has to be the biggest thing in existence in One Piece. Like it has to be taller, like taller than the red line, because remember everything there is giant. If the giants are in villages, there has to be a giant village.
Yeah.
If the village is next to a mountain and the mountain scale wise looks like an appropriately sized mountain, that means it's actually a giant mountain. So if the tree is towering over the mountains, then that means it's bigger than a giant sized mountain. And it's not even just like bigger, it's like 5 or 6 times taller than the highest mountain on the island. Like hold on, I'm gonna see if I can pull it up. Because it doesn't make any type of like
logic.
Yeah. I mean so here's the theory, right?
Okay.
It makes sense because remember Oda has based the giants of Elbaf on the Norse giants.
Oh, Jornheim, the land of the giants.
Right. So, and you know the well actually I don't know if they said it in the part that you reached yet. But remember Big Mom, Prince Loki, right. So they're based off of Vikings and like the Norse, Norse mythology, Norse giants and that kind of stuff. So what a lot of people theorize is that the tree on Elbaf might be the world tree Yggdrasil.
Ah, okay.
Which is like,
that makes sense.
In Greek mythology, the world tree is it's the tree that holds up the 9 realms.
Yep.
So the Earth realm, which is Midgard, and the land of the giants, Jotunheim, Asgard. Yeah. So look, this is a ship. The ship is going towards the island of Elbaf. Mind you can't see, like, here's a forest right here.
Yeah, I see it.
This is probably where the giant's village is. Look at the tree.
That big ass tree.
Like it's going up above all the clouds, above the highest mountains.
Like, god damn.
And it doesn't even look like this is like the middle. Like it looks like it goes for a while.
The fucking mountains.
Yes, and this little patch of green right here, that's the giant's village.
Wow.
So from a sheer like scale comparison, this tree is easily the biggest thing in all of One Piece.
Wow.
Like it has to be. It's taller than the red line.
Taller than the Gates of Justice.
Oh, for sure. The Gates of Justice would be probably like the top of this mountain.
Yeah.
But like this ship is closer to what I'm assuming is supposed to be like the camera than the island. Like it's sailing toward the island. Like this, it looks like they're sailing toward like a city. Like it's like watching a ship pull up to New York. But bigger.
Wow. I hope the next arc involves them going to Albaf because I want to see more of this tree.
Me too. And what's interesting too is that, same with One Piece, all the theories and stuff. Because of the whole thing with Norse mythology, with Yggdrasil and all that, with Yggdrasil holding up the 9 realms, there's also the other fairy tale of Jack and the Beanstalk. So remember, in Skypiea,
I'm about to say Skypiea.
they have that huge vine called Giant Jack, which goes up through the clouds of Skypiea. A lot of people predict that might actually be a branch from the tree on Elbath. But instead of the giants living at the top of the beanstalk, they live at the bottom, and the Sky Islands are at the top.
Yeah.
And there's like the different branches stretched to like the, different seas. So part of it reaches all the way over to Sky Island, and one branch is where Giant, like one of the branches is Giant Jack. And I was like, well, that's interesting.
It is interesting.
Because that would suggest that there are, because we already know that there are multiple Sky Islands.
Oh, yeah,
but
for sure.
That would suggest that there's probably multiple cities at the top of that tree.
It had to be.
Which is cool as fuck. Probably, I'm assuming, 9 cities.
Yep. I was just about to say that too. 9 cities, like the 9 realms.
Yeah. Which is definitely possible. Because think about it. Think about like how many different human-sized cities you could fit on a tree that big.
Yeah.
Definitely at least 9.
That's not outside the realm of possibility. If there's like a whole isolated civilization living on the top of an elephant, I can imagine there's like cities on top of a tree.
Right. There's already cities in the clouds.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, is like we've never seen the bottom of Giant Jack. We don't know where Giant Jack comes from. We just seen the top of it. We don't know where that vine actually grows from. So it very well could be the tree on Elbath.
Yeah.
It's actually very likely at this point. There's so much stuff. I can't wait till you get caught up, because there's so much stuff that I want to talk to you about. You'll never believe who's a Yonko now.
Oh my god.
No, don't guess.
I'm not going to guess. I want to be surprised myself. I want to see it for myself.
Yeah, and it's a surprise. But yeah, I can't wait. Let me see here. Did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
No, that was about it.
Okay. So, for anybody who's listening to this or watching this, by the way, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties. That's why my camera has not been on. But you get to look at Tyrese's handsome face this whole time, and Scarface in the background.
Yep.
And everybody loves Scarface, except for all those people he shot. But on another note, we have issued a challenge to our co-worker, I guess, co-star, friend maybe, Marquise, who does not watch anime. And we have, he basically requested that we give him a suggestion that he will watch. And the next time that we do our podcast, he will come on and tell us what he thought about it.
That I can't wait for.
And me either. And the anime that we suggested was High School of the Dead. So, so Marquise's first anime will be one of the greats.
Yep.
High School of the Dead. So you can look forward to that if you are somebody who is a avid watcher and listener of our podcast. However, it's worth noting that we'll probably actually not put that on the podcast. That will be a separate video. And to get access to that video, God, I wish you guys could see my face. I'm really killing this shit right now. And to get access to that video, you have to become a member on our website, which is blackflagent.online, blackflagent.online. I'm not going to spell online for you because you should already know that. And that is where you will find our podcasts, not only the BrOtaku Alliance podcast, but also the Untitled Hoops podcast, which is now undergone a name change, and the Lowlights podcast featuring Tyrese and Marquise, and also other content. Tyrese has a really great story about when he got into a fight with the Count from Sesame Street, and also I have a really good story coming up on a new series that we're starting called This Really or That Really Happened. Oh, sorry, This Really Happened. Where we just tell crazy stories and you guys can comment on the videos or on our Instagram page and tell us whether or not you think the story is a true story or not. So that should be fun. Well, was it what happened? Well, never mind. I'll let Tyrese tell you. I can't remember if it was a fight or you had sex with the count. I can't remember which one you said.
No, I said I had a fight with the count.
Okay, all right.
I meant to say I had a fight with a count.
Yeah, that makes more sense. So yeah, so you can see that along with other stories. Also, me and Marquise have decided that we are going to have a 3-point contest because, of course, we can't have a hoops podcast and you guys don't know about our legendary basketball skills. Marquise is our legend. Yeah, Marquise is our legendarily bad. Legendarily, is that a word?
Legendarily, we'll make it a word.
We'll make it a word. BrOtaku Alliance original, legendarily. But yeah, I'm gonna beat him. Pretty bad. And you guys can watch that again on our website. Now, to see these exclusive videos and exclusive content, you do have to become a member. It is $4.99 a month, and that gives you 1 week advanced access to all the website exclusive content before everybody else gets to see it for free on YouTube or on our website in the free section for all the commenters. But for $4.99 a month, less than $5, guys, you can get 1 week early access to all of our other content. So make sure you go to the website blackflagent.online and you sign up. We'll give you, I don't know, we'll give you a hug if you do it. Probably not. We won't give you. We probably won't even actually ever meet in real life. Hopefully we will. Maybe we'll have a meet and greet or something like that. Don't be weird about it. But yeah, Tyrese, do you have any closing remarks to our fans who are hopefully not weird?
Yeah. No flash photography, please.
Yeah, no flash photography. Yeah. Also, if you're gonna bring snacks, make sure they're green because I don't like the other color snacks. All right. So if they're Jolly Ranchers, if they're M&Ms, if they're Starburst, whatever, only the green ones. Okay. I don't want to have to sue you.
Yeah, I said if you decide to bring Mike and Ike's, I want Mike's. If I see one Ike in there, I swear to God, I will throw all of it at you.
I swear to God, if we see one, I don't even want to think about it. All right. Anyway, we will see you guys next week. Also, I almost forgot. Make sure you go to the website to hear about Tyrese's trip to BlurredCon. Tyrese went to BlurredCon, y'all.
Yes, I did.
I'm jealous as fuck. I wish I could have killed him and took his skin and his ticket and just went in his place or something like that.
Oh, that's not weird at all.
No. Not like in a gay way or nothing like that.
Oh my God. I don't want that image in my head.
And on that note, bye everybody.
See ya.